Hello everyone, welcome to week 7 lecture videos. I believe you are a little bit relaxed at this moment after submitting your assignment. I believe all of you have submitted your assignment on time. Anyway, in this week we will be covering chapter 21, univariate statistical analysis. We have 5 learning objectives today, and as usual I will be uploading 5 separate lecture videos on one on each of these learning objectives. And in this video I will be talking about the first learning objective: implement the hypothesis testing procedure. I will start with discussing types of statistical analysis. Basically there are 3 types of statistical analysis: univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and multivariate analysis. From the name, probably you understand that univariate statistical analysis involves one variable. Okay, that means if we are conducting a research or if we are testing a hypothesis that involves only one variable, we are actually doing an univariate analysis. Bivariate analysis, on the other hand, involves 2 variables. So if our hypothesis involves 2 variables or our research objective involves 2 variables, then we will be conducting bivariate analysis. And last of all, multivariate analysis. The multivariate analysis involves multiple variables. I mean more than 2 variables. Now let me give you some examples. In the case of univariate analysis, as I said, that it will involve one variable. So sometimes it might be possible that we are testing whether one variable is different from a particular standard or particular benchmark. Then we will be doing univariate analysis. Bivariate analysis involves 2 variables. So we might be testing the relationship between 2 variables or might be testing difference between 2 variables. For example, if we are testing that if there is a significant relationship between level of income and level of expenditure. If we are testing whether the average income of male and average income of female employees are different, then we will be conducting bivariate analysis. In multivariate analysis, as I said, that it involves multiple variables. Let's say that you are testing what drives customer satisfaction. Let's say you take several variables like price of the product, product quality, brand loyalty, other product features. So you have more than 2 variables, you will actually be conducting multivariate analysis. Now, types of hypothesis. Probably you can remember we previously have learned that hypothesis is a statement that should be empirically tested. That means we write down hypothesis in such a way so that we can empirically test it. We can collect data and we can test that whether we support a hypothesis or reject a hypothesis. Typically, we test 3 types of hypothesis. First one is relational hypothesis. We test if there is a significant relationship between 2 variables, if one variable causes another variable. The example, as I said, that if there is a relationship between income and expenditure. If we want to check that if brand loyalty causes customer satisfaction. If we want to test if employee satisfaction is caused by level of salary, then these are examples of relational hypothesis. So if we write down a hypothesis like there is a positive relationship between brand loyalty and customer satisfaction. If we test a hypothesis that there is a positive relationship between level of salary and employee satisfaction, we are testing relational hypothesis. The next type of hypothesis that we test are hypotheses about difference between 2 groups. As I said, that in this case we will be testing if a variable differs between 2 groups. For example, if you take income level, one variable, and you test that if this variable is different between 2 groups like male and female. Okay. Then we will be testing the hypothesis between 2 groups. Last one is hypothesis about difference from some standard. Like you can test if one variable is different from a particular standard. For example, you might be testing that the average income of your respondent is higher than, let's say, 100,000. That's a benchmark. So if you test that, what is the average income level of your respondent? Is it higher than the benchmark that you set or lower than the benchmark that you set? Then you will be testing hypothesis about differences between differences from some standard. Now, how do we actually test a hypothesis? In the workshop question, you will practically see hypothesis can be tested, but here I will theoretically tell you how we actually test a hypothesis. First, now we need to write down a very clear research objective, and from the research objective, we need to write down to derive a hypothesis. For example, if your research objective is to determine what drives customer satisfaction, then from this objective, we can write down a hypothesis that there is a positive relationship between brand loyalty and customer satisfaction. So that's a hypothesis. Now, once the hypothesis is written, then we need to select sample and we need to determine that what variable needs to be measured. For example, the hypothesis that I am saying that there is a positive relationship between customer satisfaction and brand loyalty, we need to collect data on customer satisfaction and on brand loyalty. Then, when we test hypothesis, what we actually do is we try to find out if the sample value is different or same to a particular value that is explicitly or implicitly implied in the hypothesis. Okay, why do you say explicitly and implicitly implied in the hypothesis? Because sometimes a value may be explicitly implied in the hypothesis, sometimes it might not be explicitly implied in the hypothesis. I gave you one example that the average income level is same or different from 100,000. So in this case, what you will do is you will calculate a sample value. What is sample value? The average income level of your sample. Then you will test if that is different from a value that is explicitly implied in your hypothesis, 100,000. Now, sometimes it might be possible that you test that whether the value is different from what is implicitly implied in the hypothesis. What does it mean? Let's say your hypothesis is income level male equals to income level female. Okay, so in that case, what you will be doing is you will be calculating a sample value for the male, I mean the average income, and sample value of the female, that means average income. Then you will test that if they are same or not. They are implicit because you do not explicitly write down any value. You just test if they are same or different. We talked a lot about hypothesis. Just to learn a very formal definition of hypothesis is when we write down a hypothesis, we actually write down a proposition. Okay, we write down an assertion that needs to be tested. Okay, as I am saying, the positive relationship between customer satisfaction and brand loyalty, level of customer satisfaction is same between male and female. So these are unproven propositions that will be tested. And typically, hypotheses are written as a null hypothesis, that's the status quo and no difference between sample and population, like there is no relationship between customer satisfaction and brand loyalty. There is no relationship between level of salary and employee satisfaction. Level of level of income for male is same as the level of income for female. So these are the way we write down the null hypothesis. Alternate hypothesis is just opposite of that. Okay, so if we write down a null hypothesis that there is no relationship between customer satisfaction and brand loyalty, Alternate hypothesis will be there is a relationship between customer satisfaction and brand loyalty. So typically we write down hypothesis in this way: null hypothesis, no difference or same; alternate hypothesis, there is a difference or they are not same. So this is the end of learning objective 1. Please see the next video for a discussion on learning objective 2. Thank you.